The mean is the average. So, we would need to find the average of our data set in order to find the mean. We sum up all the data points and then divide that sum by the total number of data points there are. The mean is usually a great measure of central tendency, a great way to summarize data, unless your data has outliers. If it has outliers, that can really skew the mean. Now the median is another measure of central tendency. To find the median, you're looking for the middle number in the data set. So to find the median, you first need to make sure that your data is in numerical order. And if it's not, you need to put it in numerical order. The median is a good alternative to the mean, especially when your data has outliers, since there you're looking for that middle number. Now the last measure of central tendency is the mode. The mode is the response that occurs most often. It's the most common or the most popular answer. The mode can be used for numeric or non-numeric data. So it's especially helpful when you're looking at non-numeric data and trying to find the most popular answer. Great. Now that we've recalled these measures of central tendency, let's see if there are any that maybe sort of won't work for us or may work best. Well, let's look at the mode. The mode probably won't work good for us here. The mode again is that most common or most popular response. It occurs most often. Here, that's not what we're really trying to do. We're trying to summarize or generalize what's going on with these results. So the mode probably won't be a good choice for us. Now, the mean would be good unless we have outliers. So let's go ahead and check for any of those. Outliers, remember, are values that are either much lower or much bigger than any of the other data points in our set. Well, if we look at our data points, we can see they're in numerical order. Here they're written from greatest to least. Perfect. Now there aren't really any outliers here, but there is an outlier over here. 63.5 is much bigger than any of the other data points in our set. So yes, we do have an outlier, 63.5. That outlier could mess up our mean, so making it not the best measure of central tendency. It looks like the median could be our best choice. But to be sure, we should take a look at all of these and then compare them. So let's go ahead and find the mean. Again, the mean is the average of our data set. To find that, we want to take all of the points that we've been given and sum them up. We want to take that sum and divide it by the total number of points there are. Well, if we take all the results that we've been given and add them all together, we end up with 477.5. If we count how many points we have, there are 11 results here. So we want to divide by 11. When we perform this division, we get approximately 43.4. Perfect. Now that we have the mean, let's move on to the median. The median, again, is that middle number. And in order to find the median, we need to make sure that our data is in numerical order. Remember, we noticed that our data was in order from greatest to least. So we have numerical order. And we have 11 points total. That's an odd number. That means the median is that exact middle number. Well, if we look, the number that's exactly in the middle is 41.5. So we find that the median of this data set is 41.5. Now that we have the median, time to move on to the mode. Again, the mode is that most common or most popular response. Here, we're looking for the data point that occurs most often, the result that's most common. Well, if we look, each of these results occurs only once, except down here. 37.0 occurs twice. So it occurs more often than any other result. That means that it's the mode. So the mode is 37.0. Great. Now that we have the mean, median, and mode, it's time to go ahead and compare them and decide which one is the best measure of central tendency for our given data. Well, let's look at this mode again. Notice, the mode is 37.0. Those are the two smallest results in our data set. That's not a very good representation of all the rest of this data. So, it looks like the mode is out, just like we thought. Now, what about the mean? The mean we found to be 43.4. Well, that sits right about here. That mean is larger than most of the data points in this set. So it's not a very good representation either. The mean is a little bit bigger than it normally would be, again, because of this outlier 63.5. So, because of that outlier, it looks like the mean will not work for us here. Now, what about the median? Well, the median, again, is that middle number, 41.5. If we look at the other data points, you can see that's a pretty good representation or summary of the rest of the data. So it looks like here, for our data, the median is the best measure of central tendency. But what if we didn't have that outlier? Again, our mean was larger than it would have been because we have this outlier 63.5. So what if we just didn't have it? What if we took that outlier and threw it out? Does that make our mean a better measure of central tendency? Now, this can happen sometimes when we're working with data sets. We'll take an outlier, like this, and throw it out to see how the rest of the data summarizes without that outlier in there. So let's say we take that outlier out and find the mean. Does that make a better summary of the data then? Well, let's see. Let's say we take 63.5 and throw it out. So to find the mean, we need to find the sum of the points divided by the number of the points. So if we add up all the rest of the points, we get 414. Now we originally had 11 data points. Well, remember, we took out this outlier. So that means there are only 10 left. 414 divided by 10 is 41.4. That would be our mean if we did not have this outlier to begin with. And 41.4 is really, really close to the median that we originally found when we had the outlier. So, the median is a good measure of central tendency. But if we were to take out this outlier, 63.5, the mean would then also be a good measure of central tendency for this data. See, let's say we take 63.5 and throw it out. So to find the mean, we need to find the sum of the points divided by the number of the points. So if we add up all the rest of the points, we get 414. Now we originally had 11 data points. But remember, we took out this outlier. So that means there are only 10 left. 414 divided by 10 is 41.4. That would be our mean if we did not have this outlier to begin with. And 41.4 is really, really close to the median that we originally found when we had the outlier. So, the median is a good measure of central tendency. But if we were to take out this outlier, 63.5, the mean would then also be a good measure of central tendency for this data.